Thanks for sticking with us here on 13 News. It is now 4 o'clock, and if you're just joining us, we've been on the air much of the afternoon with breaking news. A verdict in the Delphi murders trial.
Richard Allen found guilty on all counts of killing teenagers Libby German and Abby Williams back in 2017.
Of course, a momentous day in a case that has spanned nearly 8 years. We want to get right out to Anne-Marie Tiernan, who's been leading our coverage from outside the courthouse. Anne-Marie?
Dustin and Felicia, we're joining you live from Delphi, right outside the courthouse where that verdict was read this afternoon. Our Bob Siegel was in the courtroom when that decision was handed down earlier today.
And it was so fast. The jury came in, they were in the courtroom for less than 3 minutes. They handed the judge their verdict form, guilty, 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 guilty. I was sitting right behind Richard Allen, about 15 feet away from him when the verdict was read. He showed almost no emotion at all. The judge had said she did not want any outbursts. She said if there were outbursts in the courtroom, folks would be escorted out. So the reactions at first, they were subtle. I looked over and I saw Abby and Libby's families. They were holding hands, they were clutching hands, they were smiling, some of them were crying. On the other side, Richard Allen's family, they looked angry and they were crying as well. And then after the judge and after the jury left the courtroom, we saw much more emotion. We saw Indiana State Police Detective Jerry Holman went over and he kissed Prosecutor Nick McLeland. We saw State Police Superintendent Doug Carter went over and hugged the prosecution team. We saw Jennifer Auger, one of the defense attorneys, go over and comfort Kathy Allen and Janice Allen, Richard Allen's mother and his wife, and they put their heads on her shoulder. Lots of emotion in the courtroom today, and at the very end, Richard Allen led out of the courtroom in handcuffs. He now has a sentencing hearing. Now that he's been convicted of murder, that is coming up on December 20th.
There is a gag order that's in effect, and we are told will not be lifted until after that sentencing date on December 20th. Emily Longnecker was with me outside the courthouse when that verdict was read, and there was a big audible sign here on the sidewalks as the word got out that this was guilty on all 4 counts.
Yeah, definitely people cheering, many people cheering here. Some not happy, but the majority of folks cheering for this sentence. Richard Allen's family, as they were leaving today, not very happy. Obviously, Bob saw that in court, their emotion. Richard Allen's wife, Kathy, leaving the courthouse today, along with Richard Allen's mother. And when she was walking by, Kathy Allen gave a quick comment. Take a listen right here. Kathy Allen there saying quickly as she walked by, this is not over at all. We know that she was comforted in court today by defense attorney Jennifer Auger. We know the next month ahead, they now wait to see the sentence for Richard Allen set for December 20th.
Right, 17 days of testimony, 64 witnesses, 387 exhibits. And as we've been talking, there were more than 60 confessions from the suspect in the case, now convicted of murder on all 4 counts, Richard Allen. Lots to dissect. We've not been able to talk with jurors about what those discussions were, about maybe what was the tipping point for them one day or another. They have been deliberating. This was day 4 of deliberations, deliberating 19 to 20 hours before coming and announcing that verdict this afternoon. We've been bringing you live coverage and will continue to do so as we get more information. In the meantime, Dustin and Felicia, that is the breaking news here from Delphi today. Richard Allen found guilty of all 4 counts of murder and felony murder in the deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams in February of 2017. I'm sorry, it's just sometimes you think about these were 2 8th grade girls, you know, and we say, you know, Abby and Libby, Abby and Libby, Abby and Libby, as if we knew them. We almost feel like we do know them. Yeah. Certainly this was something where you want justice in this case. You feel for these families today. they got maybe that verdict that they wanted, but unfortunately they will never get their 13 and 14-year-old daughters back, their sisters, their granddaughters, and that's what is so the overwhelming sense of sadness on this day here in Delphi today. Back to you.
For sure, Anne Marie.
And we totally get it. It's been a long day of reporting out there. We appreciate you all taking us to Delphi, helping us sort out what's happening there with breaking news.
Coverage continues in just a few minutes in Delphi. In the meantime, we need to switch gears and talk about the weather. Sean, chilly out there today, definitely feeling more like fall.
And if you think today's chilly, wait until tomorrow, because we've got a front coming through here this evening on the dry side that will knock our temperatures down by about 10 degrees. You'll notice it in the morning as well as the evening here. A lot of sunshine around central Indiana today as expected. We've had just a couple of clouds. Overall, though, it was a pretty decent day here for Veterans Day. Mentioned the 60s here, 62 in Indy, 64 in Shelbyville. But breezy, certainly bright, but it is also a breezy one as well. And eventually we're going to see that wind shifting from the southwest to the northwest, and that will be the difference maker. But severe clear over downtown right now. 62, and look at the wind, sustained at almost 20. We've had gusts over 30 at times here this afternoon. And then as this frontal system moves to the south of us this evening, doesn't bring us any rain locally, but the wind will shift directions. Now, because of that, we'll have a little bit of lake effect cloud cover over the northern part of the state and perhaps over northwest Indiana, a couple of lake effect rain showers. The bigger story tomorrow morning, temperatures in the lower to mid 30s. Not abnormal for November, but considering as warm as it's been to start the month, it will grab your attention. You should grab a heavier coat out the door early. Plenty of sunshine on deck for Tuesday, but temperatures again about 10 degrees colder. 30s in the morning, lower 50s in the afternoon. We've got the timeline on our next batch of rain coming up in the forecast.
All right, thank you so much, Sean. We'll check back in. And here's an overall view of what we're seeing for traffic in our area. Things looking pretty smoothly. No major backups. Let's take you to a camera. I-70 at Harding Street. As we just said, things are moving pretty clear in both directions. We're seeing light traffic on this Monday afternoon. We'll continue to follow that. On to more news. A 6-year-old is dead after a crash in Shelby County over the weekend. It happened Saturday night along State Road 44 near County Road 600 East.
Our Lauren Kostick spoke with the child's mother and shares how they're being remembered tonight.
Along a busy stretch of Shelby County, pieces of glass and plastic left behind after a deadly crash shut down the rural road for hours over the weekend.
Aspiring across the road into oncoming traffic.
Kendra Phelps' 6-year-old son James was inside one of the cars with his grandmother when they were hit. The sheriff's office said the crash happened around 8:30 Saturday night at the intersection of State Road 44 and County Road 600 East. Paramedics rushed James to the hospital, but it was too late.
By the time I got to the hospital, his heart was pretty much gone. I put my hand on his chest and he was gone instantly.
Now remembering her son's contagious energy and loving smile.
So put a smile on everyone's face. He's made an impact on a lot of people's lives.
James was a first grader in the Northwestern Consolidated School District of Shelby County. Right now, it's still not clear how this crash happened. That is something the sheriff's office is still trying to figure out. In Shelby County, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
Tough to hear. Lauren, thank you. Big news from the company that has its name on Indy's football stadium. That's also making news today. Lucas Oil has opened new global headquarters right here in Indy.
Our Rich and I got an exclusive look around this morning ahead of tomorrow's ribbon cutting ceremonies. Rich, this is pretty big news.
Now, Felicia, you weren't here, but Dustin, had you ever heard of Lucas Oil
Never.
before Lucas Oil Stadium?
Not till it came to the top of that stadium.
Same
Never.
for me. Never heard of the company. But of course, that was the big thing that made them a household name now in Indianapolis. That was back in 2006 when Lucas Oil, that family company, bought the naming rights for the new stadium for $122 million over 20 years. And now that company makes engine lubricants and additives. They've moved their headquarters from California to this 70,000 square foot facility on the north side. The company is now run day to day by Morgan Lucas and his wife, Katie. Morgan is the son of founder Forrest Lucas, And besides some really nice office space, the new building includes a museum highlighting the company's involvement in racing and other sports, as well as their community involvement.
Well, that's one of the things that we're most proud of is a team that we've been able to work alongside and build. They're hardworking, they're loyal, they're dedicated, and they're on mission with us. They live out our values every day, and this is our way of saying thank you to them.
And check this out. In the front yard is the Colts logo from the previous artificial turf at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Cool.
Right from the stadium to their front yard. And tonight at 6:15, Morgan and Katie will explain how this move to Indy helps their company streamline their operations. They have their main manufacturing plant down in Corydon, Indiana.
Okay, well, certainly great news for Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Here in town. And you mentioned the north side, right? Is that Keystone?
Yes, Keystone at the
area?
crossing, right
Okay.
behind the mall.
All right.
All right, Rich, thank you so much. Rich and I reporting this afternoon. 13 News continues. We've got more after the break.